yes, we just wrapped up our 7-month program, and we're very proud of all our participants who are presenting today. They have been on an incredible journey. It started out with about 2,000 people who signed up for our program. 1,000 of them were active, and then 200, I believe, made it into the second phase. And the final program completed with 130 incredible participants who received certificates of completion. And people who are on this call are those who presented their project, the best of the best. Our program culminated in a project phase where either individuals and came up with an idea for a project that something they felt passionate about or a problem that they wanted to solve, and it was a way for them to put their skills to use. And so they've already presented to us a few weeks ago, about a month ago, and this session represents what we thought some of the best projects that we saw. We thought all of them were great. We were particularly impressed by this team's project. So there's 4 projects that will be presented, and some of them are a team and some of them are individuals, and they will each introduce themselves to you as well as what their project was. And just so you understand, I think they have about half an hour to present collectively, and then we're going to allow about 20 minutes, give or take, for questions and feedback. So it's just, this is a very informal environment as it can be via Zoom. But that's, and we'll, if you do have questions, we think it's probably best to wait till the end to ask them. So we ask if everyone can stick around till the very end. And I think now I will turn it over to Juan. I did just want to say, again, our participants who are here, they're from all across the country, and they are, have different, each one of the teams collectively, they are from about 4 different tracks. It's front end, back end, user experience, or mobile. And so you will see is their skills use, what they learned, and they were collaborating, many of them, to the team, if not for these projects, throughout the entire program, as to life. So we are very happy to have everyone. And I will turn over to Juan, who will then introduce each of the projects, each of the teams who will be presenting their projects.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ashley, for the introduction. And we would like to welcome everyone again. Thanks for taking the time today to be with us. It's really a great honor. It's also been a great honor working with the different participants in this program, those here presenting today and those who aren't here because they've put in a lot of time, effort, and dedication to get to where they are today. In total, we went through 3 phases in that program: the training phase, the project phase, and the what we call the job prep phase, where we work with the participants to train them, help them with projects and perfect their skills, as well as job readiness, so that they can hit the ground running in their technology careers. And we're super excited to have been a part of their journey to this point, and we continue to support them even much into the future. So today we're going to be having 4 different projects. The first project that we'll be having will be from Michael, that's called Live Look. And after Michael, we're going to be having Lauren, who developed, along with her teammates, developed the COVID tracker app. And after that, we're going to be having power couple, Lorraine and Carl, who built a really beautiful e-commerce project. And after that, Jar is going to be presenting the Century Health apps. And the beautiful thing, like Ashley said, with all of the projects that we have in this presentation, and even some of the ones that, because of time and other considerations, really couldn't present today, is that what we saw was just the entrepreneurial spirit and the participants going after problems and situations that they saw around them and using technology to solve those problems. And I'm sure that you see that in the presentation. So Without further ado, Michael, if you're ready, I'll yield the floor to you.
Okay. I will share in just a second. Let me just do a quick background about me. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you fine.
Okay. Okay, great. So I joined the program, the design track, user experience, user interface. I am coming from my previous job experience was all in restaurants, the restaurant industry. So I'm in the middle of a huge career change. You know, I don't have any, I didn't have any tech industry at all experience. So this was all new for me. And my project revolves around my previous history working in the restaurant industry. I was a bartender. And sometimes you want to know how busy a place is before you go, you know. And so I'm going to share my screen and I'll do a quick project overview, Anita. Okay. So the project overview, what is it? It's a feature that allows users to view live surveillance footage of a business. So businesses already have, you know, surveillance cameras in their business, so there would be little overhead. And you would just have access. Yeah. So the business owner through the Yelp platform could choose which cameras they want to users to have access to. Why would you do this? So the why is just to provide extra information, you know, when people are making decisions. If you have that extra feature, you know, people are most likely to use your site. Like Google has something called popular times, where you could see about an estimate about when it's, you know, how busy it is. And if that's important to you, you might use that site. And there's also the added benefit of the transparency and accountability for a business, which I'll go into in a little bit. The who is any businesses that has cameras already installed could do this. It doesn't necessarily have to be a restaurant. Yeah, so any business. And then where it would be the business could choose which cameras they would want to have access to. So this could be the customer only areas like a restaurant, or the employee areas too, like in the kitchen. You could, and this is where the transparency comes in, you know, saying we have nothing to hide. You know, you could see your cake being made, your package being handled, or you could see your food being made, you know. And this had some COVID impact, you know. During COVID, grocery stores were someplace you wanted to know what they looked like during COVID. You wanted them not to be busy. You had to stay, you know, certain distance away. So there's various different reasons. So when you go out, say you tell your friends, let's go to this, you know, popular bar, you might see something like this, and then you're in a dilemma, you know, do you eat there? Do you wait? You know, so this is like a busy holiday or a weekend, which is okay. It's easy enough to plan around, but stuff like trivia nights, you go to, you know, there are usually on Mondays or Wednesdays. How do you plan around that? I live in DC, where things like political debates will bring a lot of business. Conventions, you can see in these pictures right now, this is daytime, you know. And in DC, there's a lot of museums, so there's conventions and tours, you know. So how do you plan around these things? So right now, Google has this, the popular times feature, and it's all taken from estimates. So, and you don't really know what busy is. This top line doesn't mean maximum occupancy. And these don't represent actual data. It's just kind of meant to be a visual representation. This is the busiest, this is the slowest, and you can figure it out through there, you know. For the live footage, it paste it over the historical data. So you can see right here, it's a little slower. And over here, this one's a little busier. But it doesn't really represent how well they're handling that business. You know, this could be a busy restaurant and they could have just staffed up really well, and they could just be handling it very well. But it's so it's very difficult to tell. That's why I think the visual representation is best. So I'm going to jump right into the case study. taken from my site. So I start off right off with a GIF showing what it is and what it looks like, just so you don't have to figure it out as I go through the case study. So this is an actual footage. This is what it looks like when you go to Yelp and you look at the pictures. So I chose Yelp just because they don't have a way to compete with Google's features, but this could really be a feature for any app. It took about 3 weeks, and I did some. This is the hats I wore as a researcher and designer. So we went over this stuff, and this just says how I did the research, and how it's all location tracking, and then some of my research, empathy mapping, all the stuff I learned through in Reskill. So there's a few this is a journey map of a happy hour, and this is a date night. 2 different scenarios, sometimes where you would want it a little more populated, and an example of sometimes you would want something a little more slower. And this is just more of my data. I wanted to focus on the button because the button is the only new feature I added. I wanted them to stand out, so I did a few iterations with different colors. And in talking with my design instructor, you find out that primary buttons you just want to have one primary button for a site. You don't want to have more than one. And you can see that's exactly what Yelp does right here. This is the current button styling and the actual buttons. They have the outline style, and they have one primary button, which is their reviews is their thing. It's red, so I didn't want to mess with that. So I went with the outline style, simple right there, and I chose to place it next to the photos because also in my research, I asked people how they go about finding out what the vibe is of a place, and they look at the photos. People post their own photos of at the bar or with their friends, and you can kind of get a feel of the vibe that way. So when you visit the site, I have an overlay feature and a spotlight. So this in 2 ways. It shows it does a brief overlay, kind of like an onboarding style card, to explain it a little bit, and then also to highlight where it is on the site. I also did mobile versions. This is an actual screenshot of the app, and it was just pretty obvious where it's going to go right there. I put the button right there, right next to it. And then I have examples in the case study, but because you're here, I'm just going to show it to you right now. So this is the website I replicated. We typed in the site, the address here, hit the location, hit search. This pops up, and then that will happen briefly. Quick little animation explaining the new feature and where it is. So let's go ahead and click it. And this is how I chose to do it. This is very similar to how it already is when you view photos on Yelp. And I chose to do the carousel viewport style, and then quickly do the mobile view. Same thing, typed in the address there, view. And for this one, because space is limited, I do the drop down. Mm-hmm. Okay, and that's the end of the presentation. So I'll pass it on to the next person.
Great job, Michael. That really looks amazing.
Thank you.
So Lauren, are you ready for us?
Yes, I am ready. Let me just share my screen with you guys. Okay. And I am ready. Let me just start the timer. Okay. So good evening. My name is Lauren Smalls, and I am the team leader for the COVID Tracker Project, and I will be presenting to you all today. Before I begin, I would like for my team members, Telisa, Sharifa, and Richard, to introduce themselves by stating their track, what they currently do, and their future career plans. So let me stop sharing my screen so my team members can introduce themselves during this time.
I'll go first then, I guess. Hi, my name is Telisa Foster. I joined the front end track when I signed up for Reskill Americans. I had zero background in coding or doing anything with online computers, really. I'm currently an English teacher in South Korea, and it was an interesting challenge trying to balance time zones and projects with a full-time teaching job. I'm currently still in South Korea, and I will be throughout the entirety of 2022. So I'm really taking this next year to try and hone my skills, learn more, maybe try my hand at some back end. I'm looking for, internships and small projects and things I can do on my own to really prepare myself for transitioning back to the States or transitioning to just a completely different career. So I've been really grateful for Reskill and all the knowledge they have given to me. So yeah.
Oh, wait, Sharifa, I think it's hard to hear your audio, I think, because other people have problems too. We couldn't hear what you were saying. Is there a way to adjust it?
I think it might be the internet.
Maybe choose a different microphone if you're using your earbuds or something. Yeah, it's garbled still. If you click on the little up arrow next to the microphone, it lets you select a different microphone, perhaps, if you have more than one on your computer. I don't know.
Or maybe we can come back to Sharifa and is it Richard?
There it is. Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I can't get my video to work. Sorry about that. Yeah, the webcam's acting funny. So yeah, prior to this, I was a contractor over in Iraq. Actually, most of the boot camp I was in Iraq. Yeah, working over there. So I'm back now. Got back in October. And had no experience outside of making some completely horrible MySpace pages back in the day for myself. But yeah, I really want to become like a front end developer. So that's where my vision is and what I would love to do moving forward.
That's great, Richard. Sharifa, are you ready for us?
Yeah, can you hear me better now?
Oh, yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Sorry about that. Okay, hopefully it'll work okay with my audio as well. So I'm Sharifa Nichols. I am based out of Los Angeles. I've been working in tech for the last 6 years in various capacities. I've been in software sales, managing support team, and now I've moved on to managing a recovery team. I actually work a lot with our designer, and that's kind of what prompted my interest to UX and UI. So I've been taking on small projects here and there with my current employer and looking to just expand that and get more experience in other areas within design. So Reskill's been great, really taught me a lot, especially like the core foundation of UX, especially since I don't really have that experience in learning like Figma and like just how to be like a whole comprehensive like designer from a UX and UI. So it was really, really great.
So cool that you're actually putting that into practice at your job. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Go back to sharing my screen with you guys. One of our team members could not be here. That is Shalink Richardson. She is a member of the front end developer as front end track 2. Currently, she is teaching English in South Korea. She is currently looking to further develop her skills and portfolio throughout the next year to get a job after her current teaching contract ends in August 2022. She is open to working remotely as an intern or as a part-time role as a front-end developer if possible once her contract ends. And once again, my name is Lauren and I am a front-end developer. Currently, I am a program coordinator at a local college in Charleston, South Carolina, where I work on many projects that range from conferences to academic advising. I chose this bootcamp because I wanted to further develop my coding skills since I have been coding since high school on and off. I am currently looking to transition into the tech field as well as a front-end developer or a product or program manager, but I am open to other positions. So we are going to start our presentation. The team consisted of 5 members. 4 of us were front-end developers and 1 designer. Telisa was responsible for creating the GitHub repo, the FAQ page, and deploying the website. Richard was responsible for creating the landing page along with the header and footer to be implemented across all web pages as well as the API tracker. Sharifa was responsible for designing the about page and perfecting our initial designs. Shalink was responsible for creating the contact page and about page, and I was responsible for creating the testing vaccination page as well as the designing the pages. So what is the problem? I work on a college campus and frequently I'm asked by students, faculty, and staff about the number of COVID cases on campus, how to go about getting tested and receiving a vaccine, and what to do if they think they have COVID. So that's when a great idea came up. Our approach and solution for this problem was to create a website with a real-time tracker using an API that would provide students, faculty, and staff with the current number of confirmed cases, individuals in isolation and now quarantining, and recoveries from COVID on campus. The website also would provide information regarding testing efforts, vaccination sites, the procedures to take if you've been exposed to COVID-19, along with updates on the campus mask policies. So before I show you our demo link, we had some lessons learned along the way during this project. One lesson learned was that live API trackers to monitor college and universities' COVID cases do not exist at this moment. Most colleges and universities are putting this information in manually. Also, APIs are very expensive to use. Therefore, we had to use a free API that provided real-time results for the United States that provided the same information that we wanted, but it also included the number of deaths. This led to us readjusting our project scope. Another important lesson learned was that communication is very important. As you can see, all of our team members are located in different parts of the world, and we are all in different time zones. Constant communication was needed to keep us on track to finish on time. Another lesson learned was further developing and learning new skills. When we initially started this project, we were all front-end developers with 1 back-end developer. Then within that 3 days, we lost our back-end developer and we did not have a designer. Therefore, we all had to learn and further develop our skills in GitHub, React, JavaScript, and Figma until we got a designer to help us. So what I'm about to show you right now is our demo link, our website. So this is our landing page. As you can see, if you were to type in any state, you will get an update of the total number of cases how many people have recovered, how many deaths each state has had, and how many people were currently affected. We also have our testing and vaccination page, which tells you where you can get tested, testing requirements, testing locations, and where you can find a clinic near you. And also you can submit your vaccination documents. We also have a page telling you who we are, how we gather this information. We also have our contact page, so you can find out information regarding, if we don't have any information on the FAQ page, then you can just contact us. And this is our FAQ page. And as you can see, our website was built using React.js. And this is our, it was built using accordion style. So if you click on this, you would get an answer. And also, just briefly, with our FAQ page, we did do a mobile design that Richard designed using the hamburger style. So very briefly, this concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lauren. That was really beautiful. So the next presentation will be from Lorraine and Carl, who will be sharing their website. I think it's knickknacks or more knickknacks. I'm not sure.
Yeah, more knickknacks.
Great, I got it.
All right. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Lorraine. I am currently a teacher looking to transition into a career of tech, specifically in design. I never considered myself creative in the past, but looking back, I've always been into photography and Photoshop. I take courses. I'm continuously learning with Illustrator and graphic design. And I finally found my way to Reskill Americans and the UX UI design track. I know I wanted to attempt a career in tech, and I decided to teach myself CSS and HTML, and I ended up trying to, I bought a Udemy course and trying to teach myself those skills. And in that process, I discovered Jeremiah Peoples, who was a town hall guest at Reskills, and he had a YouTube video where he promoted Reskills, and that really is what led me to Reskill Americans. And I've been down the designer rabbit hole ever since. Before I let Carl introduce himself, I do want to, give a big shout out to Reskill Americans for such a wonderful experience. I would say that as a first generation student, there are sometimes challenges when choosing a career. There's sometimes lack of guidance, lack of resources when it comes to education and career choices. And successful careers in tech can seem like an impossibility, especially when there is a lack of resources. I started with knowing close to nothing about UX and UI design, and I left the program with confidence in designing desktop and mobile applications, experience working with team members, and enough work to build a portfolio. The board members, staff, tutors, they were all so empathetic throughout the entirety of the program, which helped create such a camaraderie within the students and the student body. I don't think I've ever come across a boot camp that has been labeled as empathetic, but it is definitely something that makes Reskills stand out. And I really, truly cannot recommend Reskills enough to people. So I'm very thankful for that. And with that, I will pass it to Carl, so he could introduce himself as well.
All right, hello everybody. I'm Carl, and like Lorraine said, my wife, we pretty much started this together. I was also a teacher. We taught together in the same building. I was social studies and art, and we started online. And we knew very little before we found Reskills. I eventually decided that I knew I'd fallen in love with coding once we started, and we all started, by the way, looking for something to do in lockdown. Had no idea that, what we were looking as a hobby would turn into this. But I fell in love with it so deeply that eventually I turned to Lorraine and I was like, this is what I want to do for a career. I would like this to be my last year teaching. And that was the plan. But one thing led to another. We have two little ones whose schools closed, and one of us had to be with them. We couldn't be, downstairs teaching, from home while they were upstairs alone. So one of us had to be with them. And being that I had already decided that I would be going first in leaving teaching and starting a career, it made sense for me to stop. But this just allowed me to just throw myself into software development, which I've been happily doing ever since. So I did, we went into Reskills and I went in the front end track. Reskills not only helped me prepare through wonderful and teachers and mentors, but they've also provided me with opportunities to connect with employers. And I have my first interview because of them, and it's amazing. Right now, I have paused everything and I'm focusing on my JavaScript. And improving that's been my everyday. And again, Reskills has been there even now, even after the program. Pam reached out to me to check up on me, and I was like, hey, I'm working on these algorithms. And she's like, oh, and I was like, I got this double loop that I'm having trouble getting rid of. And Pam's like, oh, send it over. I'll see what I can do. And I mean, that's wonderful. I mean, to continually get that support, even at this point, I mean, I'm eternally grateful to Reskill Americans for everything they've done for me. I'm really open to any software development position that can utilize my skills. I mean, I'm ready to absorb anything that I can learn anything that I can from anybody, and wherever, anybody who's, willing to take me and take me under their wing and train me up, and yeah, I'm just very excited to further my my journey. Thank you.
All right, on to the project. Carl, my husband, was the front-end developer as I was the designer, and some of the designs that we decided to do with our project. Well, a background on the project: it is more knickknacks. It is a website to sell antique and vintage items. It's been my mother-in-law's dream to sell all the knickknacks that she has collected throughout the decades when she retired. And given what we have learned in Reskill, Carl and I thought this would be a good project to take on with both of our skill sets. So the look was basically a nice, simple site, easy to use. And since it is selling antique and vintage items, we decided to go with a vintage look and color palette. My mother-in-law's, she was inspired by a gift, which is this little picture on the left over here. She was given a gift of a flower in a frame, and it was in jest. A friend of hers gave it to her as a gift because she had so many knickknacks. So he gave her one more knickknack, and that's what inspired her name, More Knickknacks. So I decided to take the flower from that frame and create one in Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. Again, since I'm always playing around with these programs, I recently was learning how to make images look like paper cutouts. So that was something I was playing with, and I attempted to make that. And then the different fonts that we used, I felt that the antique cherry font was very vintage looking. And then we ended up placing the flower and creating the logo for our mother-in-law, and she really liked it, thankfully. So some of the challenges when we did this project in phase 3 of the program is we did start late. As Carl mentioned, we were trying to build our portfolios and get our resume started so we can apply to some jobs that were being offered at the time. So we did start about a month later than everybody else did, but we worked diligently in trying to complete as much as we could. Yes, we have full-time jobs. And if anybody, I know there's other teachers here, we take the job home sometimes. So it does become a little time consuming, as well as having children. We're also continually learning. I'm always trying to improve my design skills through Figma. One of the wonderful things about having my husband be the designer, the developer, is I was able to really get a firsthand experience on what the developers see when a designer presents their project. Even though I worked in a team, everybody was nice and we were shy and we were also new, so we weren't sure what to ask. But having access to the developer at home, he would ask me questions, and I would now realize that certain things I wasn't showing him in Figma. So I was able to really, really get in depth on how I should present designs and information for the developer to see. And again, Carl also had to learn some new tech to implement in our project. So with that, I will pass it on to Carl so he can show you the website. Thank you.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay. All right. Everyone sees this? Yes? Good. So, all right. So here we have the Born Knickknacks website. We have this wonderful logo that my wife came up with, which basically is the home button. We made some changes since the last time we presented this, and this is one of them. If we move over to, not everything is functional yet, but we also have implemented these little, customer features like a login, and we have this nice overlay that appears with a next button, closes. If you forget your password, you're brought to the password page. You can press the little home button to bring you back. We are eventually going to implement, these customer features so they can have the favorites list working. They can have a functioning shopping cart. so that they can have, purchase items, obviously, but then being able to log in also will allow my mother to be able to track, any purchases, and, see what people are looking at. So that'll work out. Let me see. We moved the logo really big here. We thought that was a good idea, and that's something that wasn't there before. And as Lorraine said, we really went with this big Americana theme. If we move down to the new arrivals, we have this nice overlay here also, and these are also going to be links to these categories. And then we go down to the featured projects. We have a overlays here that reveal a view button, and you're able to go and view these featured products that are going to also be very customizable. Going with these featured products and being able, and new arrivals, and also these customer features are going to require me to learn some backend, which I already have videos that I'm ready to watch, and I have sources to learn from once we continue and move forward with this. As we go down towards the footer, we have all these, frequently asked questions, etc., that of course the owner is going to have to flesh out before we actually create. But we have this little section here where the viewer can learn more about the company, more knickknacks. We have a picture here of my mother, and this is where we're going to put some text about the origins of more knickknacks, maybe something about my mother, coming as a little girl from Puerto Rico and starting her own business, closing it, and now opening this brand new business. So there's a lot to put there. Let's see. All right. At this point, everything is responsive. So if we right click and inspect, as we go down, everything should start collapse, okay, until eventually we get down towards mobile. You'll notice here we have this hamburger button, and on click, it transitions to a nice little X. And what's very interesting is when we built the portfolios, of course, I learned how to make these hamburger buttons with JavaScript. But in my research, I discovered that you can make them with CSS. And that would make this website a little faster, not having to go to JavaScript for that. So this is actually a full CSS implemented drop-down menu here. Okay, and you'll be able to access the nav bar there. And also you'll notice at the bottom of the page, I got to move you guys over, all the customer features and the home button move towards the bottom, and that gives it that kind of like that app feel when it goes down towards the bottom. So you can still go to home, you're still able to access, the sign in, and everything still functions very well. And that's the site. Thank you.
Great job, Carl. It seems like you keep making it better every time. That's really great to see. That's really great to see. So our final presenter for today's demo day will be Jarla. Hey, Jarla, how you doing?
Hi. Good afternoon, evening, or morning, depending on wherever you are. And my name is Jarla, and I completed the Python backend developer track. And like many other people here today, I was an absolute beginner with no prior coding experience. I didn't even know what a framework was, and I had never heard of Django. So for me to have helped to create a working website using Python and Django is still quite amazing to me. I had the opportunity to work on a medical aid app for both phase 2 and phase 3 of the program. In phase 3, I worked with a team of 4 developers. Christian and Taylor were the front end team, and Mikhail and I worked on the back end. Unfortunately, they could not be here today. However, Christian created a brief slide presentation for our previous demo, and he is graciously allowing me to use that today. So let's get started with that. I will share my screen now. So the name of our project or our app is Century Health. And one second, let me get that out the way. So the issue that our project is trying to resolve is that the average person does not always have quick access to medical information or contact information for the right medical practitioner. So we decided to use our project to allow users to view their medical information when they need it, and also be able to contact their health practitioner by email or by phone. Lessons learned, all 4 of us contributed to this list, and I will just go through it briefly. First and foremost, coding collaboratively, being dependent on and dependable to other members of our team. The next lesson, Mikhail contributed. He became more aware of back-end processing and Django's implementation of it. And this was because he actually had Python experience previously, but he soon learned that Django doesn't do everything exactly the same way as vanilla Python does. We all gained much knowledge in full stack development through working with our teammates. The front end and the back end team, we had to communicate and work together to solve several technical issues. And by means of that, I even learned a little bit about HTML and CSS, and we just exchanged knowledge, and we all were better for it, honestly. The next lesson I contributed, and that is the need for persistence in finding a solution to a problem, and for sometimes trusting your own instincts, even if you are a beginner. And this was an important lesson for me because being completely new, I think there were times when I lacked confidence in my ability. But a couple of situations came up where even though I was given recommendations for a solution, I really had to just trust my own instincts and find a more effective solution for the problem. The front end team submitted the next lesson learned, which is being able to read and view someone else's code and make adjustments. And this was because for Christian and Taylor, they came into a project that had already been worked on in phase 2 by other front end developers. And so they had to pick up where they left off in order to complete the project. We all learned a lot about Git branches and how to resolve merge conflicts. I think all 4 of us contributed to that lesson learned. And the front end team also learned more about maintaining design consistency with all pages. So for our website, we have 3 types of users. That's the patient, the health practitioner, and the admin. And depending on which user logs in, that will determine what pages they are shown and what processes they have access to. So now we're going to go to the actual website. And I just picked the one process to go through with you for the sake of time. And that is the making of an appointment by a patient with a doctor, and then the doctor reviewing that appointment request. So as you can see, even from the landing page, a person can click on book an appointment. And if they are not logged in, it will take them to the login page. And we're going to go ahead and log in as a patient. So each user, when they first log in, they're directed to their dashboard page. And each user also has a side menu here that has different options depending on what type of user you are. So as a patient, they're greeted with when their last appointment was and who it was with, and also the number of upcoming appointments that they have scheduled. They can click make an appointment here, or they can go to the Find a Doctor page and look for a particular doctor by name or specialty, and then click on that doctor to receive information from the doctor's profile, at which point, again, they're given the option to make an appointment. So now we're at the patient appointment page, and this page really took a lot of work for Mikhail and Christian. They kind of collaborated on finding a way to get this dynamic date picker working here. And as you can see, they were successful. So the patient has the ability to choose a date. We'll go with the 15th, and a time, and a reason for their appointment. And once they click make an appointment, they are redirected back to the previous page and they're given a message as to whether or not the request was submitted successfully. If there had been a conflict with that time slot that they chose, it would have also shown up here. So we're going to log out now and log back in as a doctor and pick up with that request. So again, the doctor is immediately brought to their dashboard, and they're greeted with information on what their next appointment is and who it's with, who it's with. But we're going to go to the consultations page. And here, the doctor can see any recent requests for appointments, such as the one we just created, as well as previous consultations. And the doctor has the ability to either review or accept this request for an appointment. We're going to click on review. And at that point, the patient profile comes up and the doctor is able to review information on that patient, their contact information, as well as recent visits with that particular patient. Again, the doctor has the ability to either decline or accept the request. So we're going to say accept. And at this point, the doctor can go to their schedule page and it will show all appointments that they have for that particular month. Now, this is a page that I worked on, and this is one of those pages where that lesson of persistence really came through for me. It took quite a lot of research and tutorials and help in order to get a working dynamic calendar in Django. So as you can see, my calendar does come up with the present month. You can click on the next month, or you can go to a previous month. It is also populated with any appointments that that particular doctor has, and we'll go to the one that we just created on the 15th. And here, this opens up a view for the doctor to add notes or change the time to the appointment. We'll just say a fever, and the doctor can then submit that, and it will update both in the database and also here on the calendar. So I think that's probably coming close to my time here. It's just a brief introduction to our website, but it was a project that we all enjoyed working on, and I think I learned so much for. My hope is to use my knowledge of Python in my career transition to cybersecurity. Python is a language that's used by a lot of cybersecurity specialists, and that was what prompted me to take the Reskill program course. But I learned so much about web development that I'm also looking to do some of that on the side. So thank you for your attention. That's the end of my presentation.
Wow, thank you so much, Jala. That was really beautiful. And, you know, the testament to your persistence, not just you, but you as a team, because what we discovered was, you know, and again, the idea was for people to be able to do certain projects in phase 3 and go do other projects in the second phase and do other projects in the third phase. But they were building something really beautiful. As you can see, it's really robust, works from a all user perspective, from the patients to the doctors, and all of the little features in the app actually works. And that's really beautiful, because that took a lot of work and dedication. So congratulations, and congratulations to everyone as well. Do we have any questions for the participants?
Hold on. I just wanted to. I mentioned at the end of my project, I was supposed to talk about, you know, Reskill, what I planned to. So I didn't get a chance to say that. So I just want to say, talk
about it, by the way. We just want to clarify. You have to give us a plug. But yeah.
No. But I wanted to say, like, you know, what I learned in my process. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Reskill really helped me figure out, you know, what I wanted to do. So they have a UX, user experience and user interface track. And it really teaches you, everything you need to know, the fundamentals about what goes on behind a project, like, for example, my project and how there's research to be done. And in doing that, you kind of find, that there might not actually be a use for this, or people see it differently from you. And so it was really eye-opening, and they really teach you everything you need to know. And so in doing that, I really found that I liked the user interface more. And so I took a course on just user interface. And in doing that, I feel like I might like illustrations more, so that's where I am right now. I haven't tried to apply anywhere, put my skills that I learned. And so I haven't really jumped into that field yet. I mean, I did start my portfolio. They're super helpful in that, but I'm really just figuring out where I want to go right now. I feel like I might need to do internships or just continue learning on my own. And like with any of these, like Reskill, any online educational, experience, you get as much as you put into it. It was really great to hear those numbers that you told us about, 2,000 people signing up and only about 100 making it or so. It did feel that way, it did feel like there's a lot of people struggling to make, the time frames work. And then it was interesting to see how people got filtered out. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that real quick. That's where I am right now. I am looking for jobs. I feel like I might need to do an internship first, just because I have no experience, not just with tech, but with a real life job, I mean, all my jobs have been in restaurants where the amount I make that day is, how much I make, there's no paycheck that comes, I just earned cash. So even working with people, and, I learned all that from Reskill. So not saying that I haven't learned enough. I feel like in the real job, I'm a little apprehensive if I could do it. So I feel like I might need to start with an internship, but I feel like I gotta.
I think you should back yourself. I definitely think you have it in you and you can do it. And by the way, Michael also worked on the Century Health app, as he did work on many other projects. And he was really gracious, jumping every time it was needed to help someone out or work with a team. So thank you once again, Michael. And I really wish you all the best. And you should go for it. I think you have what it takes. So Marike, Eric, do you guys have any questions for the participants today? Or comments, or even, whatever it is. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I really like the different areas that were covered by all. It wasn't just all geared in one area. You guys took on some really challenging projects here, all the way from, I like the knick-knack, for example. I'm a big eBayer, so that one really spoke to me in work that I've done with them as well. But even the COVID tracker or the medical app that was presented, and then the live cam, I thought was really great. They all covered a broad scale of different problems, showing how you attacked real world problems and brought solutions that were relevant. Like, for example, the COVID, and knowing how many people was at something is something my wife and I would probably really utilize. Maybe when there is a high number of cases in our area, I could see that really being useful. So it was really eye-opening to see everybody attacking these and how these apps are developed and thought out. So it was very good in the presentation as well.
Yeah, and I don't want to piggyback too much off Manrique, but just to kind of reiterate that, really big kudos to everyone that presented. I know everyone is coming from different backgrounds and juggling multiple different competing priorities while trying to make this kind of transition. It's always an extremely difficult feat by no means. So or is by no means an easy feat to do that. And so just want to call out and recognize that from a practical standpoint, I don't think we introduced ourselves yet, but myself and Manrique are from a tech startup in the Bay Area called Rigetti Computing. We're definitely, growing pretty quickly as we head into 2022. I know a lot of you had varying timelines in terms of the types of roles that you're looking for, or kind of when you're looking for them and in what capacity. But just wanted to make sure I open my door, or our doors, if there is future interest, in speaking with us. We I think are evaluating right now what kinds of capacities we can take on, different types of software engineering talent. So, we're certainly, interested in, exploring those for, motivated candidates like yourselves. So, if there is any interest, I can pop my work email here in the chat, or our recruiting email for you to reach us. It's basically just talent@rigetti.com, and I'll stop the plug there. But again, thank you for inviting me, and it was really cool to see all the presentations. You all did a fantastic job.
Thank you so much, Eric. I'm already typing the email in the chat. Yeah, so do we have any further comments, questions? Congratulations. And I see that Femi, our other co-founder, just joined. I'm sure like some of you have met him, but maybe some of you haven't. I don't know if he wants to say a quick word.
You're on mute, Femi.
Sorry, everyone. Yeah, joining from my phone. Apologize for the fuzzy picture. Sorry, I have a day job, which is why I couldn't make it, and I had a conflict. So my sincerest apologies for that. We really feel very passionate about the work we're doing. We feel very passionate about the opportunities we can help you attack. And so we're really looking forward to help you, not to help and support you in finding your place in the tech world. So the journey with us will continue. Thank you so much for the time and the effort you've put into presenting today. But we really have so much more in store for you. We have partners that want to talk to you. So please stay tuned for that. Supremely grateful for you trusting your journey to us. And we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. Mike, I'm not sure that you said anything on the call yet, please. Do you have anything to say to the participants, to our partners who also joined today? Well, I don't know if partner is the right word, but potential. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, you're talking to me.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd seen all these before, but I'm still very impressed, and I think everybody, I think Michael left the Starship Enterprise here, but Michael, I would say like you really have you have a good. I saw all that research that you did, like the whole grasping, like tackling a business problem, doing all the research, thinking about all the ramifications of it. I think that's definitely showing that skill set that you have within you to do that and to like manage a project and kind of think through the issues. I think that's a great skill that you've exhibited there. So, I would definitely encourage you to kind of continue with that in mind. And, I think you do have a good career ahead of you to work on, product design or products and things like that. So,
appreciate that. Thank you.
Something for you to think about. Yeah. And on the COVID tracker was, am I right? You have 2 Korean members in your team. It seemed like, so yeah. And talk about like working across time zones on steroids, it's just like that, very impressive, like that you guys all can work together. And and I especially like the adaptability that you showed. You face some challenges and not being able to get the API you needed, so you figured out how to pivot to something that was like productive. So that was really great. And the Knickknack site, I had so many really great things about it, and it's always improving every time I see it. But I really like that you did that mobile, like in the mobile app that had really paid attention to like what should a mobile app look like. Even just that small thing of putting the icons at the bottom, it looks like a mobile experience. And
yes,
so really great job doing that. And I know you have a lot to learn now. It's exciting for me to think about all the things you have to learn about for back-end development and databases and stuff like that. So do reach out to us if you're researching things and want more help with that. So our next cohort, Pam and I've been discussing, we're probably going to be doing something more more full stack, so that it will include like back-end stuff for everybody that is in the developer track. So that will be something, but you can keep in touch with us, and we'd love to kind of continue to work with you guys. So on the medical app, it was just it was like amazingly like the most functional, complete app with database access and everything, and working logins to multiple users. It was just blew me away. Like it's really, really great, showing a high level of completion of all the functionality. And I like what you said about kind of cross training each other, learning CSS. Even though you're back-end stuff, learning some front-end stuff. I think that was a great aspect of like what you're able to experience in the program. So I think that's most of my notes. I was just really impressed with everybody. And so anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Juwan, sorry, I just wanted to, it occurs to me that this is a unique opportunity to find out, especially for the folks that presented, how many of them have leveraged the LinkedIn consultant to position all these things in their profile so it can get the visible, so it can help them as they take the next step towards getting an opportunity at either an apprenticeship, like Michael said, or full-time employment. Is that something?
Yeah. Well, that's something that we want to also follow up with everyone on to keep working with them. But I don't want to take too much time from yesterday because So as in case we don't have any more questions and comments, I would pass it over to Ashley to do the closing. And
I just a quick word.
Please go ahead, Pam.
Just a quick word. I came in, started meeting you guys in phase 2. And I just want to say, even though I wasn't here from the beginning, I just feel like a proud mama right now or something, because you guys have just demonstrated just everything that you need to be successful in this field. So I just want to say I'm just extremely proud of your journey and happy to be a part as you continue. You guys know you can reach out to me, anything you want to talk about, coding stuff or whatever, feel free to do that.
Thank you, Pam. And now I'm getting like emotional about this. This is like the final party. I just wanted to say congratulations again to all of you on not only getting your certificates, of course, but just your incredibly hard work. To say that you're juggling a lot is an huge understatement. And just the fact that some people were also trying to coordinate with South Korea is crazy to me. This whole day, this whole session was about celebrating you, and to our friends who have joined from outside of the program, it's also about showcasing you, not just you, of course, our 130 participants who we couldn't invite to the session because it would have taken days, but all of the people here just represent just a fraction of some of our participants and the incredible effort that they've dedicated in the last almost a year to this program. And as you can tell, they're so entrepreneurial and doing a lot of work behind the scenes and working with each other and helping each other. What they're not saying is there are many of them who are working and supporting other teams at the same time and answering questions. So we've been so impressed by them. Thank you to everyone in the tech community for being here. And I also want to give a shout out to one of our advisory board members who's here, who's Ambassador Phillip Brown. She does not need to say anything, but I see her name. She said she's in transit. So thank you, Ambassador, for joining to listen. And just as a final closing, because this is being recorded and it's on YouTube, for anyone who's watching or watching this later, we of course are showcasing all of our fabulous participants because we want to find them jobs and help them, and our support continues. So please contact all of us at Reskill Americans if you have open roles or you know people who do, because we're very excited for them and very proud of them, and we want to help them in any way we can. Thank you, everybody. And now we're 8 minutes over, so congratulations and thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm planning on doing the next cohort because I want to have some coding skills. So I'll be doing it next.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job, everyone.
Thank
Really
you.
good.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.
Bye.